address, but overall fabulous image and a really, really interesting subject, very well found.
Looks like a moth that's got like.
This image was 23rd and was awarded a silver award. Congratulations.
This is a beautiful capture of the terns. Little fish. I know these guys tend to take treats to their beau or whoever they're wooing. And one bird that is trying to get that beautiful shiny gem back to another male trying to stop him. Hard to say, but I like the narrative and the way that it makes me think about that interaction that they have with each other. Beautifully timed, and the depth field is really nice with giving a good sense of place with the background without actually making those background details and highlights a distraction. So congratulations there. Potentially you could be looking at just a little bit more faster shutter speed just to get the tips of the wings a little bit sharper, but it adds to the sense of movement, and I don't think that it's a distraction in any way. There's also quite a bright highlight on the upper bird's tail area, which is potentially able to be burned down a little bit, but yeah, stunning image, great capture.
This image was 21st equal and was awarded a silver award.
I'm all about the creepy crawlies, and these praying mantids are just beautiful. I think you've got these two subjects here with that poor little wasp who's definitely not going to be seeing another day. The depth of field, well, it's really quite difficult with macro work, and you've done a great job of getting the prey and the larger mantid sharp. A slightly larger depth of field to show the mantid in the background, who is, we're sort of given hints of it with its legs interacting with the main mantid. But it's a little bit distracting because once you follow those legs in, it's quite out of focus. But some in-camera, there's fabulous things you can do now with in-camera focus stacking, even with a live moving subject. That if you have a bit of an experiment with that, that'd be great. But well done on capturing this scene. It's beautiful.
Just to add, I think this is a really interesting nature study, and I applaud the photographer for having a really clear, uncluttered background in this. I think it really adds to the image.
Right back at more creepy crawlies. This is 21st equal and it got a silver award.
Fantastic, congratulations on the silver. I am just so taken with the jewel-like drops of water in the eyes. It's just so rich and sumptuous for what is a nature shot, so well done. In this case, putting my creative eye on, I feel like the shallow depth of field actually really works. And highlights those beautiful jewel-like drops. I'm not too sure what I'd do to improve. Perhaps consider, if at all possible, what's going on in the background and whether that could have been a sort of more of a complementary colour to the eyes rather than the pinky tones. But still, that's pretty nitpicky. I think this is a fantastic image.
This image was 18th equal and was awarded a silver award. Congratulations.
This is a beautiful capture of a spoonbill in flight. Fantastic details all the way down to the tips of the feathers. Really love that beautiful shadow coming through on the wing of the neck and the start of the beak. It's just really stunning. Captured the light coming through the wings really, really nicely. There's a little bit of loss of detail there in some of those highlights, but because that bright light coming through is so strong, and it doesn't really detract from it in any way. Potentially could have given it a little bit more space on the left-hand side, but it's got beautiful space to move into on the right of the frame, and maybe just a little bit lighter around the very, very tips of the feet, because you can see a couple of little highlights there, probably moisture on the feet, and I can't quite see the other details. So I feel like they're there, so maybe that could be lightened a little bit, but absolutely stunning capture, and I love those tones in the background, just beautiful, and beautiful light there still coming on the eye, so you can still actually see the eye of the bird, which can be tricky with these guys, so yeah, well done.
Just to briefly add, I think well done to the photographer for perhaps choosing, for want of a better word, I suppose a pose or a point in the action that is a little bit different to what we normally see. And I think that's quite original.
And just so you know, your screen up there is like 2 stops lighter than my screen. So the highlights that you can't see on that screen, I can see on this one. So just...
Yeah, my apologies to the photographer then.
I'm not sure which one is colour corrected.
And can you see the feet?
Yeah, so to our viewers, we are doing our best, but the judges that are commenting on what they see in front of them, and it may not quite be what you have put in, but congratulations. Yes, your images were judged on colour-corrected monitors. So what you were awarded was all seen on colour-corrected monitors, whereas the feedback, they have got a very big TV in front of them, and it's probably not, from what I'm looking at now, quite colour-corrected, because the image that I see in front of me that got 18th and a silver is slightly darker on my computer than it is for what they're seeing.
Wow, this image just has immediate impact. The direct stare of this rather determined and potentially angry-looking bird it's just a delight. The really beautiful colours of this guy, looking just straight down the reds, and the jewelish colours of the blues and the greens are lovely. As a way to improve, I think it's beautifully cropped in this direction. I think I wonder a little bit whether, and as I said, we're limited a little bit by the screen, if it's darkened off and we've lost all sort of detail to the left-hand side. We do see a little hint of a silhouette on the left, but in this case, I don't think that's a major detraction from the image, because it is, all the strength is right in the centre there. If anybody else has some input. But yeah, it's really strong image. Can I congratulate everybody in this category? Like, what we're seeing in the top 30 is just incredible work. Yeah.
This image was 18th and got a silver award.
Well done to the photographer for putting such beautiful work into this competition. This image is really evocative. It's so peaceful and tranquil and calm, and I think the photographer's use of the limited depth of field has really brought that on. I'm loving this sort of halo of to really highlight the uniquely beautiful feathers on this bird, which are an important part of its characteristics. To improve, I don't have a great deal to offer. Maybe just I'm hoping the photographer spent some time getting a few different frames, because perhaps in looking at that reflection and the scale of the bird within the frame, and I'd say quite possibly this was the best one. So, but yeah, I think just having the time and the opportunity to actually really try different shooting angles and different crops is really good in this instance.
I just want to add that what we're seeing, there looks like there's some sort of noise or some elements down the bottom that are a bit, it looks like a bit of digital noise in the bottom of the frame. In the reflection, it's particularly obvious on this screen. And just, softening that a little bit wouldn't have really, blurring it a tiny bit, which I think, pretty sure you're allowed in this category, would have just helped remove that as a little distraction, because it would flow better through with the smooth reflection that's of the bird in the water also. But beautiful, beautiful capture.
This image was 17th and it was awarded a silver award. Congratulations. He's very cute.
Yeah, this is stunning. Really, really beautiful. I love those little toes just coming through. You've done a great job with the palette, the tones, really, really nice. It's no distraction whatsoever from the background. The tone there is a little bit surreal, but that could be, I guess, the water from the pond or whatever, wherever this little creature was living. The only other distracting element is right at the tip of the leaf on the left-hand side. And I guess, yeah, very, very minimal distraction. It's absolutely stunning. A silver award, and lovely capture. I love the bright green and that orange coming through with just a hint of the colours coming through on the top of the frog. Is fantastic.
This was awarded 16th and got a silver award. And he actually looks like a bit like me trying to get out of a swimming pool.
Wow, look at that detail that's coming down across, and it even continues through into the sections of the skin that are under the water. Like, that's really, really beautiful. I can't quite figure out whether I find this image more amusing or sad. Like, I know that this frog can get out of this pond just because it's a frog and that looks like a pretty good surface to climb out of, but the pose that it's in, it's sort of like he's just soaking in a hot bath, or he's been trying to get out for a little while and can't. But yeah, the detail is absolutely stunning, and I really appreciate the square crop. The colour of the water, it makes me wonder what water this frog is sitting in, what it's actually in, because it looks kind of like a man-made pond, and why is it this sort of almost toxic yellow? And I'm just wondering whether if that was toned down a little bit, it would allow us to really, really hone in on that frog without questioning what it's sitting in. But just congratulations on the amount of detail and the texture that you feel through that skin, through the directional lighting across. It's just gorgeous.
And congratulations to the photographer, I suppose, and Joe's really hit on it. It's sort of bringing these almost human nature type characteristics to nature. So well done.
He's cute. I like him. This image was 12th equal and was awarded a silver award. Congratulations.
I really enjoy a good sort of multiple. Rachel's going to interrupt me then. Where I think in this case it adds up to more than the sum of its parts. It's actually really showing kind of almost like a day in the life and the unique characteristics of these animals. And because I'm a bit of a wuss, I don't really like getting too close to these guys. It's shown us the closeness so that we can really appreciate the texture of the fur and that sort of the minute details of life So I think the middle frame of the 9 works very well as the sort of focal point. But I would consider perhaps the bottom right-hand frame it sort of feels a little bit out of place. It sort of interrupts the flow, but maybe it's a full stop. So yeah, well done to the photographer. And do you guys have anything you want to add? Yeah.
So just to add on to what Janine was saying, it's very, very difficult when you're putting together a series to highlight all of those subtle differences, which you have done really well, maintain that flow and also keep a balance. And I feel like this is really, really close, but there are a couple of frames there that potentially distract us more than engage with us. You've got a couple on the left, the top and the centre left, which are quite similar, and so potentially just one of them would have done the job, but you need 9 to balance it. So keep playing with the concept because it is very powerful and it does tell us a story about the engagement of the animals with their young and just the average day, because we sort of think that they lie around doing nothing all day. Most of the time it's not spent doing that. But also just to touch on that centre image, if you're going to be entering other competitions and stuff, maybe consider just entering that one on its own and see what happens, because even though we're not engaging with the eye or the face of the animal, that's an incredibly powerful image. The perspective is quite unique and yeah, it's very, very striking. So congratulations.
Agreed on the centre image, and perhaps even consider maybe a triptych or that sort of thing. So keep playing with this concept.
I quite like these guys. I used to train fur seals many, many years ago, and they have actually captured how soft they are when they are dry. They are super soft. And my ones were cuddly, so I was fine going really close to them. This image was 12 equal and was awarded a silver award.
Sure. Look at this. It's the yin and yang of the bee world. It's a beautiful study of these little bees showing what they do and how they act. And I love the fact that we've got 2 individuals that show us both the views, the front and the back, and that they're in almost identical poses but in opposite directions, which is a real great study showing us all their features. I think the lighting's handled really well. You've got, you know, that wraparound lighting that really shows off their wings and the details in their fur, and has nice highlights in the right-hand bee's eyes. And I think the only little tiniest thing that that could be improved is use of a slightly higher shutter speed, because the back leg, which is in the very centre of the image, is showing a bit of movement and creating blur there. But then, you know, you could argue that actually adds to show that these guys are alive and moving and feeding on this flower. But beautiful colours, beautiful tones, and a great behavioural behavioural image showing us just what these guys do. If anybody's got anything to add, that'd be great. Well done.
This image was also 12 equal and was awarded a silver award.
Yeah, what an incredibly clear, crystal clear image with many, many good choices made by our photographer here. And it's really showing off the unique aspects of this bird, especially the red under the wings, but not in a really obvious way. I'm really enjoying the light coming through the feathers. That's quite unique for this species. I think to get that level of sharpness right through is just incredibly well done. But also we've got the background is appropriately blurred out so that we can just enjoy our subject and give it free rein. So very well done. Congratulations.
Just to add to that, and this could be the screen we're looking at and not the file, but it's something that pays to just keep an eye on anyway, is I am seeing just a very subtle magenta colour banding coming through in the background in that sort of bottom right area. And if it's not there, that's fine. If it's just the screen, then it's easily forgivable, and it may not have been something that the judges even noticed. But just when you're doing your processing, do watch out for anything like that when there's a smooth gradation of tone, because it can become a distraction.
It doesn't appear to be on this screen, but I think if you printed it, it would come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
This image was 12th equal, and it was awarded a silver award.
This is a really beautiful pop of colour, the blue on the yellow there, really nicely seen, and it's lovely to see something that we often see as an annoyance, or that we don't want, no one likes a fly, but you've shown us the beauty here, which is really, really lovely, because there is always beauty in things, even if they annoy us. So you'll think that about our partners sometimes. But you've captured it really well. There's stunning detail through there. I think one thing to look for going forward would be, when you're sharpening, perhaps just sharpen the key subject. Look at doing it in a localised way rather than globally, because there is a bit of crunchiness coming through in the flower petals. And while the sharp parts there are very, very nice to have that detail in, I think it's just slightly over-sharpened, which creates little aberrations on the smoother tones. So all of the detail and excitement and colour and pop is in the main subject, and that's where we really want to be looking.
Ooh, now we've reached the top 10. This gets very exciting. But before we do that, I just want to thank Photo Warehouse, who are proud sponsors of New Zealand Amateur Photography Awards this year. Photo Warehouse has been supporting New Zealand photographers since 1987, operated by real people who know and love their cameras. 7 stores nationwide, plus an extensive range of new and used products online. And that's at photowarehouse.co.nz. Now, if you're in Christchurch and looking for something to do, come down to the Majestic and have a look around at the exhibition hall and see some of the entries from the Iris Professional Photography Awards, which are on display. If you're keen to own one of these gorgeous prints, there are a number of them being auctioned off tomorrow night from 5 p.m. So make sure you don't miss out on owning some gorgeous prints. Ones that could be available for auction are marked up for auction. And at 5 o'clock tonight, we will have the category winners to be announced, along with 3 finalists for New Zealand Amateur Photography Award of the Year. So make sure you stick around and watch that one. And the other thing we have is New Zealand Photo Show, which is on this Friday and Saturday. And it's not too late to get your ticket for a single workshop, 1-day or 2-day event. There's a fabulous lineup of workshop-based events. Plus on Sunday, we have a range of masterclasses if you're after some more in-depth learning. Book online at nzphotoshop.co.nz or come up and see us at the registration desk. Sorry, NZ Photo Show. It's morning time. I'm still waking up. But I know you're all pretty excited to see who made the top 10, so here we go. These are in a random order, so we don't know which image has won or anything like that. We can just tell you what they've been awarded, and we'll get a lovely comment for you. This one is in the top 10, so we don't actually know what it's been awarded, so we will get a lovely comment.
Look at this dude celebrating. There's obviously been a little bit of a battle here for this. I think it might be a poor little bunny on the ground underneath there, but I love the direct stare, the wings up. You could read so many different stories into this. This could be, you look what I've just grabbed, or this could be, hey, you stay away from my hard-earned meal. There's a little bit of the School of Hard Knocks about this bird with the broken primary feathers on the left-hand side, and that just direct gaze is just, it's yeah, giving me all the feels. I think it would have been nice if there had been a slight turn of the wing on the right so that we could see a little bit more of that glorious detail that we have on the left. But I mean, this is nature. You don't necessarily have control over that, and maybe there were other frames that do that, that show us that, and maybe there weren't, and this was the only frame that was captured. But the tonality of the image is beautiful and soft, which is, you know, it's really nice compared to the sort of somewhat gruesome scene that's in front of us. And there's just lovely detail throughout the grassland that this bird hunts through, and it's just a really beautiful representation of this species and how it lives, where it lives, what it does, and what it thinks about you taking its photo. Congratulations.
This image also made it to the top 10, and congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. I'm just readjusting my eyes to kind of, I suppose, in a way, make sense of what I'm seeing. And I think our main subject of the creepy crawly variety, again, is definitely really well framed by the beautiful jewel-like web. And we're seeing how that's made. And perhaps we have a victim in the web there. Beautifully clear and really interesting to have it on the dark background, and I think that is a point of creativity and originality. I don't have a great deal to add as far as improvement, and again, I suppose just the placement of the subject in the frame, and just whether there may have been a slightly better way of doing it, but I don't doubt that the photographer was considering that, so well done.
Just to add there too, I've never actually seen, I think it's an incredibly unique capture, I've never seen a image, nature image, where you've actually captured that process of the wrapping, the web coming out there from the spider. And while with any sort of nature image, it's always nice to see the eyes of a live subject, I think the playoff here is capturing that movement, which is often quite quick, and so for you to do that with that depth of detail is, yeah, really, really good, and I want to applaud that as well. Thanks.
Here's another one of the top 10, and Rachel's very excited about this one. Congratulations.
See, hummingbirds, these guys, this is why I picked up a camera for the first time, and I wish I had a photo like this. This is just beautiful. To have the wasp there as well, this is really stunningly captured, and I can fully appreciate just how difficult it is. The detail that you've got through the wings and all of those tiny little feathers, the detail still on the flower, the fact that you've captured it on with an actual flower rather than a feeder, because that's so often where we end up photographing these guys. The whole thing is really, really stunning. I love the background. The little bit of reddish brown on the left is slightly distracting. I sort of wonder if it was actually a vertical crop. If you had more space at the bottom of the tail there, it might just give it that more of an uplifting feeling, a little bit more space for the bird rather than that bottom tension. But absolutely stunning capture, and I love the tones, and yeah, and that little tiny tip of the tongue coming out from the beak is just, yeah, beautiful. Well done.
I wish you guys could see what happened then. There was a little dance and an arm flap that was a little reminiscent of a hummingbird of excitement when that
Yeah,
came
you
up.
should have seen it. It was very, very cute. Very cute. Congratulations to this photographer as well. You're in the top 10.
Yes, congratulations. Look at these chooks. Like, there's so much in this image, the detail there, and that protective or curious stare of the mama hen, and that little eye poking out from beneath her feathers there, and the pose of that little chick. It's like, I don't know, he looks very, very proud, very, very confident with his full crop on full display there that looks like he's puffing out his chest in absolute defiance, but still, you know, it's very easy to be confident and strong while you're being protected by your big old mama. I think it's just a really, really lovely story. I think the tones through the image, the details through the feathers are really, really lovely. I'm going to assume that we're losing a little bit in the blacks because there's not a lot of detail that's going on through, I guess, where the feathers, the underneath the chicken. Oh, I just stuttered. And where the foot joins on the right hand side, the mother's foot to the underside of her body. That's very dark, and it makes that leg almost feel a bit disjointed, which is the only thing that's really disconcerting for me. The rest of it is just absolutely stunning. So I don't know if there's a way to bring in a little bit more to the shadow area, but yeah, it's really that stare from the chick is just divine, and the poses is great. So congratulations, you well and truly deserve to be in that top 10.
Just to add, I really enjoyed when this image came up, and I thought, oh, that's just total maternal protection. Look at her; she is staunch. And I definitely I would encourage the photographer to have a go at printing this image and seeing how those dark areas could potentially be handled, because I am just loving the texture of the feathers. It looks like a pineapple. It's really, really cool. Yeah, so you know, maybe if you can't print yourself, go and see someone who can and get a little advice on it.
And another cute creepy crawly that has made it to the top 10.
Oh, this is my creepy crawly. I seem to be doing really well with the bugs. I am not 100% sure this is some sort of spider, right? Yeah. Two spiders. Oh yes, two spiders. Right. Okay. And I'm not sure what they're up to, but again, we've got those beautiful jewel-like eyes, and again, that I do believe that the shallow depth of field that picks out just certain aspects, especially the hairs on the legs, has been quite successful in this instance and has limited the distractions. I do wonder whether to improve the colour of the leaf that it's standing on is really quite super saturated and bright, and maybe detracts from our sort of enjoyment of the spiders. And so maybe having a wee look at that, but overall the beautiful sharp focus on the many eyes is really quite engaging. So yeah, well done.
No, that's okay.
I just wanted to add there too, Janine's comment about the depth field is absolutely bang on, and it suggests that rather than focus stacking and other techniques, this is a single capture, which makes all of those details that are standing out as even more special, because it's often very difficult to get that focus in the right place with those foreground elements like those legs coming through, and still nailing that with a single capture while they're moving. So well done.
Yeah, we're looking for that clear focus on the eyes, but it's which eye to choose, really.
Can I also add something? I just wanted to congratulate the photographer on this. The light source, the way that the light wraps around those eyes, they almost look dewby, and I'm just so impressed with the quality of the light that we're seeing, the shape in those eyes. You've really nailed that depth of field, like it's spot on. And also with that light coming through, you get that translucence through the limbs, while still keeping the detail in all the hard areas as well. Like it's just really masterful use of light in this. And I just really wanted to say congratulations. It's beautiful. The creepiest of crawlies.
And this is another one of our top 10 images. Congratulations.
Congratulations on this slightly different take on the nature category that we've seen so far. This, to me, it's an art piece. You've got I think that it looks as if these are these floral elements are frozen in ice and are slowly being revealed with it. It's got beautiful texture through it. The colours are lovely, and I like how there's a roughness to it as well, as if it's just freshly snap frozen. You've controlled the highlights beautifully, which is difficult to do if you've got a super shiny surface that isn't necessarily flat, because you've got lots of other elements coming through. And I think it's got a lovely flow. The way that your eye travels through those elements from one corner of the frame up into the other is really nicely done. The only thing that I can see that sort of breaks that little bit of magic for me is it looks like there's some human fingerprints left behind on the left-hand side, where the sort of pointy flower underneath the white daisy on the very left, which sort of breaks the illusion a tiny bit for me. But it's such a small element, and I really, I had to spend a lot of time. It took me a long time to see that. It doesn't necessarily detract too far, but just little things like that can really take away from the magic of a scene. But this is a magical scene, and the colours are just divine. So congratulations, well deserved.
I very much enjoyed this image, and I especially like the diagonal design of it. I think just a couple of things. I think there's a red flower that's very close to the edge of the frame, and I must admit that becomes a magnet for your eye. So just watching those sort of edge of frame distractions, and it also sort of looks like there's a sort of a frame around the ice, and it's pretty obvious in the top right. I'm not sure what that is, and I'm not 100% sure that adds to it, but look, overall, well done. The colours are just bang on, and congratulations.
And congratulations to this image for reaching the top 10.
Oh, no, it's yours, sorry.
It's a beautiful little grey warbler. Stunning detail through the feathers, and that distinctive red eye is really nicely captured. I kind of enjoy the composition with the bird looking up into the frame, and the depth of field is really lovely. Trying to think of improvements. I'm not really getting distracted by much here. The subject is looking straight up, which can tend to lead the eye out, but when I look up, I go into the sort of background foliage and back around to the right and along the branch and back up to the bird, so that's quite nicely handled. You could possibly lose a tiny bit on the right-hand side, just so that those little branchy bits in the very background on the top right are taken away, because they are a very minor distraction, but otherwise it's absolutely stunning, really enjoying it, and definitely a fantastic top 10 finalist.
Yeah, I just would add that if our photographer is feeling quite creative now, they've done everything right for the nature category, but if you wanted to, you could perhaps look at running this through an editing process, and maybe giving it a sort of a desaturated, almost Japanesey type feel, because I think that could be potentially quite exciting if you wanted to have a play.
This is a cool little bug. Congratulations on making the top 10.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I was just sitting back and enjoying this magical, crazy-looking, creepy creature who it's almost got a mask effect to it with big horns coming out. I'm not quite sure what this species of spider is, but I'm very, very keen to look it up and figure out what it is. It's just beautiful. The image has immediate impact with that bold orange and reddy tones just hitting you in the face as it turns around. The lighting's nice. It looks a little hot on our screen, but I really think that that's just our screen is
Yeah,
quite
it's
bright.
your screen.
There's a little bit of a distraction with the perch that this creature is on. The orangey elements on the left-hand side of the spider that sort of, it cuts off very abruptly into the very, very deep, dark background. If that had been burnt down a little bit, and possibly with the perch at the front as well, just burnt in just a little bit so it's not quite the same tone as the spider, that would really help us to focus on this absolutely magical creature. But yeah, it's really, if you found this out in the wild, that's incredible. I mean, it's such a fun looking, creepy creature. And potentially just, I wonder whether a square crop would have just helped us to really celebrate that wishbone shape of those horns there. But really lovely. I'm not sure if somebody else has anything to add, but congratulations. Like, yeah, incredible impact. Well done.
And this image also made the top 10. Congratulations.
I'm just loving the sort of heart shape that's created by the two birds, and it's a courtship display, and that's so well done. I think the photographer has made a good choice with that sort of vignette around the image, just to draw our attention in to those beautiful white feathers. There are definitely our subjects do stand out from the background, but there is a lot happening in the background, and I don't know whether, that could have been addressed. But overall, fantastic. Maybe I don't know whether it's the angle that I'm sitting on, but perhaps they're just a little off centre. I don't know. What do you ladies think? Yeah.
Tiniest bit.
Yeah.
At least with the heads.
Yeah. Have you guys got anything you'd like to add?
It's really difficult when you're photographing in busy surrounds such as nesting areas. They're designed to be in places that are confusing and, where the birds aren't out in the open. And I think you've done really well to get all those beautiful details in focus through the feathers. There's a quite distracting element smack bang in the centre of the beak with that bright yellow I think it's fern elements in there. If that could have been toned down just a tad, just so it wasn't competing as much with the beautiful faces and the interaction between those birds. And yeah, but I think it is beautiful. And yeah, if they were in the centre, as Janine said, it'd be great. But yeah, really beautiful. I love those. The breeding plumage is just divine.
Yeah, congratulations.
And congratulations for this creepy crawly that has also made it to the top 10.
Yeah, this is really lovely. I paused because I'm just soaking it up. I'm really enjoying how the little spiky details on the spider's legs are actually mirrored through on the surface of the leaf, and we actually don't see that with leaves very often either. So that's really, really nice. I think you've done a fantastic job of capturing all of that detail and that complementary colour. I'm not really too sure how to actually improve this. I'm not getting distracted by very much. The black is really nice and grounding there. There's not too much of it. It only takes up a portion of the frame and no more than what the main subject does. And the depth of field is lovely with those details and the complementary colours coming through in the background that work really, really well with those tones of the spider. The catchlights are stunning. The spider's pose could have been a little bit more symmetrical, but I'm sure that in the modelling brief that he didn't really follow the instructions, so you can't really fault anything like that. I think it's a hugely successful capture. Actually makes me think of the patterns on tigers and stuff like that, just with the way that the tones come through. So the grounding within the natural world is really, really lovely.
I also just want to say congratulations to the photographer. I don't know where you guys are finding these spectacular spiders. Maybe I'd like them a little bit more if they were all brightly coloured like this. The only thing that I think is I'm getting drawn to the left-hand side of the image a little bit because it's quite a bit, it's sort of competing in brightness between the subject and that left-hand side. If that had just been toned down a little bit, it would help the eye travel through along that beautiful wave of the leaf and straight to those big googly eyes that are so intently looking at us. I like that this little thing almost looks like it has fancy eyelashes on. Really, congratulations.
Watch out. Another very cool hummingbird one.
I get to do hummingbirds, and I must confess I have never photographed a hummingbird. But I am enjoying that we have a group of 3, and with the natural element of the flower, as Rach said before, and I'm totally in love with the wee guy on the top left who looks like he's just skiing in. Now, I mean, obviously shutter speed is going to be a real challenge here, but it would have been really great just to see a little more crispness on the wings, if at all possible. Yeah, I think it does look quite bright, but again, that could be our screen, and Michelle's going, yeah, it is. So, yeah. So
it's perfect on this one.
Yeah, complementary colours of the pink flower and the green background, and I think I am not sure I would do a lot more to improve here, and I think it is a really good sort of documentation of the unique aspects of these birds. So yeah, any further thoughts? Yes.
Yeah. Congratulations on catching what looks to be 3 different species of hummingbirds in the one photo. The directional light's really nice to show off shape and form. However, there's using a slightly larger light source may have helped because we've got quite an obvious and harsh flash shadow on the larger hummingbird that's perched on the flower, where that foot shadow is very definitely projecting onto the stomach of the bird behind, which I just think takes away a little bit from that beautifully handled soft background. Also, the little guy on the left with his fuzzy little butt and his tail feathers, that is the hero of the image, and I think even that as a solo would be a spectacular image. But I really enjoy that there's 3 different species in there as well. So congratulations, just yeah, well done.
Congratulations to our top 10. And don't forget to tune back in at 5 p.m. when we have our category winners and the 3 finalists for New Zealand Amateur Photographer of the Year.
And can I just say that these images were stunning, and I really hope that we see some of them in print coming through next year in the Iris Awards, because they're right up there, guys. You need to just keep at it, print your work, and keep entering competitions because they're amazing.
Yeah, congratulations.
Definitely have a crack at printing, because what you see on screen and what actually prints is totally different, and you will help your craft by printing your images, and then you can see all your mistakes and go back and make them look amazing, more amazing.
And I was just about to say, if you are in the Christchurch area, there's a gallery of images that have been awarded during the live judging of the Iris Awards that are on display here at the Majestic. And if you come on down and just have a wander through, you can see the real difference that paper stock makes, presentation makes. And it's a really great learning experience. And it just, the print adds an extra element to every image, and it's really a joyful thing to see your image printed beautifully. And so I think if you're not printing, or if you're scared of printing, or you just want to come down and see some pretty prints, come on down, visit us. And congratulations to everybody in that category.
Yeah, congratulations.
Now, if you're out on watching this, we're going to have a quick break, and then we're going to be back at 9:15 with the landscape.
Yay, team.
They should be turning the live stream off.
That was amazing images.
We're like 3 minutes over, but we'll start right at 9:15.
Can I leave that there?
Yeah, thank you, ladies. That was fun.
Yeah, thank you. That was something new for me.
Oh,
We've got Janine, Rachel, and Delia.
my pants.